Okay. I'm using. I know I may be having so many problems. Might be going to may have all this, but I only have the cheapest equipment that I can afford. Um, my name is Loretta Nash, and you are listening to the Loretta Nash Show. Um, I've actually had this for for 10 years. I forgot about it and I just came across it because I've been hearing it on news radio. So I decided to go ahead and I've been reading books off and on for past, what, about 6 months here. Started off with these old books that were 70 years old. It was called The Bible Story by author Maxwell. I read all 10 books. It was a bad idea, but all 10 books. There it's on my YouTube channel. I uh, just finished reading a pamphlet from World War II about returning to civilization life. Yes, I have a southern accent, big time southern. And for the past little bit, I've been reading out of a first edition book from the 1930s that's called I'll Make My Stand. And it says it's by 12 Southerners. I got it at the library when they have a sale every so often of discarded books, and I saw it, especially the authors, when it said by 12 Southerners. And being a Southerner, I thought, maybe they'd be interested. And I decided to go ahead and read the book out loud since I got this account and I need to put something on it since I had it for 10 years and I've been, kind of playing with this show a little bit. Okay, so, and the idea and the premise and, and of course, I'm an artist, so, uh, down at the bottom, you may say it says Lord's blog. That's where I post my artwork. Um, I don't really post my audio, but it's just something. Okay, let me get back to me reading this article. This article is called Reconstructed but Undergenerated. I'm on page 21 of part 6, and uh, it's by this guy named Ransom. Okay, and I finished a paragraph on the last episode, so I got to a stopping point and then rambled, which I'm doing right now. So I'm going to go ahead and start this reading, which is a horrible reading. I don't read too well out loud at all. I never did when I was little, and it just carried on. And most of this book in this article is high level, and I sound like a robot. When I read, I sound like a robot, a southern robot. But okay, I'm on page 21, and let me go ahead and get back to this. Okay, it is in the interest of America as a whole, as well as in the interest of the South, that these questions press for an answer. I will enter here the most important items of the situation as well as I can. Doubtless to say, they will appear a little over sharpened for the sake of exhibition. Number one, the intention of America at large appears now to be what it was always in danger of becoming, an intention of being infinitely progressive. But this intention cannot permit of an established order of human experience, and of that leisure with conditions the life of intelligence and of arts. Number two, the old South, if it must be defined in words, practiced the the contrary and European philosophy of establishment as the foundations of life of the spirit. The antebellum Union progressed to say at least a wholesome variety of doctrine. Number three, but the South was defeated by the Union on the battlefield with remarkable devastationness, and two consequences have been desired. The Southern tradition was physically impaired and has never since been unable to offer an attractive example of its philosophy in action, and the American progress principle had developed into a pure industrialism without any check from the Southern minority whose voice ceased to make itself heard. Number four, the survival of the Southern tradition as a detached local remnant is now unlikely. It is agreed that the South must make contact again with the Union, and 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 in adapting itself to the actual state of the Union, the Southern tradition that had Southern traditions will have to consent to a certain industrialized of its own. Number five, the question at issue is whether the South will permit herself to be industrialized as to lose entire entirely her historical identity, and to remove the last substantial barrier that has stood in the way of the American progressivism, or will accept industrialism, but with every large but with a very bad grace, and will manage to maintain a good deal of her traditional philosophy. And that was the end of the thesis for number 6. Okay, and now it goes into number 7, and I got a little bit to go, and then it's a big one. Yeah, it's a big one. Number 7 is a big one. Yeah, some of these words in this book is high, but I hadn't been in high school, college. Well, I hadn't been in college in quite a while, and I've always been with, no more than high school education people around. Uh, Even Southern, I was elementary up to high school. Um, okay. Anyway, and when this pandemic hit, it really messed everything up. Had to do a lot of stuff differently and everything, and I got to find something to do. Okay, number 7. part of this article, Reconstructed but under Unregenerated. I'm trying to decide, do I want to finish this article out? I don't have very many time on this. I know I'm broke these things up in 15 minutes. I don't know why. I guess it's from listening to the radio a lot. Um, they always have 15 minutes, then a commercial, and um, and then of course has the little thing on it that it always do. Okay, let me go ahead and do number 7. The hope which is inherited in the situation is evident from the terms in which it is stated. The South must be industrialized in 1930, but to a certain extent only, in moderation. The program which now emerges engages the South, so engages the Southern leaders, is to see how the South may handle this fire without being burnt badly. The South at last is to be physically reconstructed, but it will be fatal to fatal if the South should conceive it as her duty to be regenerated and get her spirit reborn with a total different orientation towards life. Fortunately, the Southern program does not have to be perfectly vague. There are at least two different definite lines among either which an intelligent Southern policy may move in the right general direction. It may even move back and forth between them and still advance. The first course would be for the Southern leaders to arouse the sectional feeling of the South to the highest pitch of excitement in defense of all the old ways that are threatened. It may seem ungrateful to a kind industrial to the kind industrialists to accept their handsome service in such a churlish spirit. Curlish spirit. Crazy words. But if one thing is more certain than another, it is that these gentlemen will not pine away in their discouragement. They have an inexhaustible enthusiasm for their role. The attitude that needs artificial uh, respiration is the attitude of resistance on the part of the natives to the salesmen of industrialism. Okay, I might stop here at this moment. Part 7 of Reconstructed but regenerative. Yeah. Interesting. And of course, my bad reading. Oh, awful reading. And sound like my daughter says, it sound like a robot. But, I've always sound like a robot when I read. Okay, you are listening to Loretta Nash Show, the Loretta Nash Show, or Laura's blog. And I'll be back and finish this thesis off in just a bit.